infrastructure. Well, my name is Graham Smith. I work for version 1. I'm a developer and a PeopleSoft infrastructure specialist. I'm also a certified OCI cloud architect. And also, because of my contributions to the PeopleSoft community worldwide, Oracle has very kindly recognized me with Oracle ACE Director status. One of the first things I should have said before I even introduced myself was thank you for allowing me to speak English. It is the only language I know other than people code.
Okay.
So I really appreciate it, and full respect and kudos to all of you on the call having to put up with my English language. I really do appreciate it. I'm speaking to you from the beautiful university city of Oxford. That's where I'm based. It's where I'm working right now. It's where I live, and we have a very autumnal, very autumn feel to our city right now. Like I say, I work for version 1. We're a 2,000 staff IT services company based in Ireland and in the UK, and we have a presence in India as well. We have over 10 years of experience working with cloud infrastructure, and we have many PeopleSoft customers who have migrated to cloud, and we have not just migrated them to cloud, but we help them manage their implementations of PeopleSoft as well. I'm part of a team of 50 PeopleSoft professionals within version 1 that make up the PeopleSoft practice. We have over 25 years experience working across PeopleSoft HR, ELM and Campus, and our teams are based in the UK and in India. We work with customers wherever they are in the world. We have customers in the USA running PeopleSoft on OCI. We have customers in the UK running PeopleSoft on OCI, and we've been working with PeopleSoft customers across Europe. This was me on Monday. As has been mentioned, we had the great privilege of the very first in-person event that the UK Oracle User Group organized in 2 years, and it was just great to be with people again face to face, and there's me on the right there with some of our customers.
We are very jealous, Graham.
It's early days, and some were nervous about it, but they did all they could in terms of precautions, and it was good to be together, to hear from Oracle, to hear from the partners and the presenters. We had a whole day of PeopleSoft content from customers and partners. So let's talk about public cloud infrastructure. I've always seen public cloud as just a set of solutions to some common problems. What are these problems? The first problem is we all need hardware. We need hardware to run our PeopleSoft systems on. And so what public cloud offers us is a solution to the demand for hardware. And public cloud gives us unlimited and immediate compute, storage, network, and database services. That's the main characteristic of public cloud. The second solution is that it provides a solution to an ever-increasing need for agility, for us to be responsive and reactive, and to help us to automate some of the service provision for our PeopleSoft systems and other systems. And thirdly, public cloud can help us manage costs. If I have 150 servers that I need to provision for my PeopleSoft system, I don't need to go and buy the hardware for all 150 servers and then try to predict what my growth is going to be like over the next 2-3 years and buy some additional hardware and bring that on premises. I can simply go to the public cloud and pay as I go. If I want to buy 100, I can buy 100. If I want to buy 150, I can buy 150. If I want to scale that down to back to 100, I can do that. I only pay for what I use. It's a subscription-based service, and that is revolutionary in helping us to manage and contain, and indeed, many cases, reduce our operating costs. I wrote about this in the UK Oracle User Group magazine, Oracle Scene. This is a couple of years ago. I wrote about this. I had an article published. That URL will find that article. You don't need to write this down. I think I can share the slides with you. And the case for cloud, I tried to make that case for cloud in there. It's a few years old, but it's still valid. So what are we talking about here? Let's look at the PeopleSoft stack on cloud infrastructure. We're talking about infrastructure. We're talking about the hardware, the firewalls, the network components, the operating systems. We're also talking about the databases that run on that hardware. So Oracle and SQL Server and all of the administration around the databases, the monitoring, optimization, security, of that database platform. These are the two layers that OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and other public cloud providers can give us. What the public cloud providers can't give us is PeopleTools, WebLogic, Tuxedo, and Java, the essential frameworks within which PeopleSoft runs. But OCI can. So you won't get those from AWS and Azure as native services, but you can from OCI. And I'll explain and demo that shortly. And then, of course, we have our PeopleSoft applications that are HCM and our financials, our campus, ELM systems that run on top of PeopleTools. Cloud infrastructure is predominantly focused on delivering services in the first two layers of that stack, the infrastructure layer and the database layer. Version 1 are accredited partners with all three of the major cloud providers, Microsoft, Oracle, and AWS, and we have PeopleSoft customers that are running in all three of those. But this session today is about Oracle's cloud infrastructure and why that is such a compelling case for moving PeopleSoft to OCI. So let's look at PeopleSoft on OCI. The first thing I should say is that version 1 have been running PeopleSoft on OCI for, well, ever since Oracle provided a public cloud platform. I think it's around 7-8 years ago, maybe. We have over 30 instances of PeopleSoft, HCM, Financials, Campus, and ELM that we use for our client development, for demonstrations, for building proof of concepts, for performance testing and tuning, for development, for testing out latest PeopleTools releases, and doing research and development and training for ourselves. So we've been running PeopleSoft on OCI for a long time, and I can't ever imagine, I can't remember what my world was like before I had OCI, being able to run PeopleSoft on it. But why would I run PeopleSoft on OCI? Why don't I just leave it on premises? Why not leave it in my data center? Well, it provokes the question of why PeopleSoft at all. And of course, we've all got significant investment in PeopleSoft. It's well established, it's working well, it's robust, it's reliable. There's a case for PeopleSoft, and Oracle is still investing. You know, we know from our own experience that PeopleSoft can be extended, it can be customized. You can make it do generally what you need it to do for your organizations to gain value, to gain competitive advantage over your competitors, and of course to react and respond and create opportunities. PeopleSoft is very extendable, and Oracle, of course, are continuously improving PeopleSoft every 12 weeks. And in most pillars of PeopleSoft, we're getting new PUM images that contain new features and enhancements. And of course, we want to benefit from those innovations in technology. And by moving PeopleSoft to OCI, it can free up the burden of administering data center hardware and infrastructure and free you up more to innovate in that technology. I'm going to do a very, very quick comparison of Oracle with Amazon AWS and Microsoft Azure, three of the primary cloud infrastructure providers in our IT world today. And we have PeopleSoft customers running on AWS and Azure. In fact, 2 weekends ago, me and my team were helping one of our customers here in the UK bring live PeopleSoft on AWS. And last week, we launched our latest migration of a PeopleSoft campus system to OCI. So we have active projects on the go at the moment. But I want to make this very quick comparison because it helps us understand why OCI is so important to PeopleSoft. The first thing I want to say is that in the provision of compute and storage services, of providing automation, management and monitoring and alerting, all three cloud providers provide those. And I'm not going to attempt to say if one is better than the other. That's an impossible thing to do without understanding your own organizations and what your priorities are. But I will focus on just 4 things that are unique to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. The first one is delivered PUM images. Amazon and Azure and Oracle all provide templates for operating systems like Windows and Linux. Only OCI provides a template that is PeopleSoft ready, that contains PeopleSoft and from which you can provision a PUM image. And the best way to show this is to demonstrate it. So let me drop into the OCI console. Hopefully you're seeing the OCI console here. I logged in as an administrator.
We see it.
Brilliant, thank you. I've logged in as an administrator and I have this thing called a stack. Now, a stack is just a definition of a set of machines and what it is I want those machines to do. It's all coded in a language called Terraform. And right now, nothing exists other than the code, the definition, if you like, the metadata that describes this environment. So I've got a stack here that is for HCM image 40. And I'm going to go and open up the stack and I'm going to click apply, confirm the apply, and off it goes. That is now provisioning a Linux server in OCI. It's going to install People Tools. It's going to install WebLogic, Tuxedo, Java. It's going to install an Oracle database, and it's going to use the DPK to provision me all the domains, all configured to my specification, and provision me a standard PUM image. Now, it's just a demo PUM image. Of course, it's fairly lightweight, but this could be my development environment, or it could be my UAT environment that it's building. And there it is building. There's the code spitting out the log for the build. Now, this will take about an hour and a half. We don't have time to watch this finish, but if you want to call me up tomorrow and get proof that this really did finish and I can demo it to you, more than happy to do that. But that's just demonstrating how OCI can be used to orchestrate a standard PUM image. Only Oracle can do that because only Oracle provide PUM images as templates within their public cloud infrastructure.
And that's
what is it going to build?
Graham, that's for every environment. OTAP, development, test, acceptation, production shared from another?
What I'm demonstrating here is the provision of a PUM image. Could you encapsulate a copy of your production environment to run in there? Yes, absolutely, you could. And we have customers running their full stack on OCI all the way up to production. All I'm demonstrating there is the fact that from a position of nothing, we can create something fully automated.
Okay, thank you.
And what this is just demonstrating is a single, very simple, single Linux server running the full PeopleSoft stack. So when the next PUM image comes out, I don't need to, get my hands dirty in installing it. I can just provision it immediately, exactly as I've done just there. The second thing I want to call out around Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is PeopleSoft monitoring. All three of the cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and Oracle, they provide monitoring tools that will monitor your servers and your storage and memory. What they won't do is monitor PeopleSoft itself, except Oracle Cloud Infrastructure can. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure has a product called Oracle Management Cloud, and Oracle Management Cloud is aware of PeopleSoft. You won't find this on AWS or Azure. Oracle Management Cloud knows about your process monitors. It knows about your application servers and your web servers. And it can tell you things like, do I have queuing going on in my application server layer? Or what the response times are like within WebLogic and what memory is being utilized. It's very PeopleSoft aware. Of course, Oracle can do this because it owns the development teams for PeopleSoft, and in case it's been able to integrate these natively within its monitoring infrastructure. You can build custom dashboards that give you deep insight into the operational metrics of your test systems and your production systems. So that's Oracle Management Cloud. The third characteristic that's unique to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is database as a service. Now, AWS and Azure also provide database as a service for SQL Server and for Oracle, but Oracle don't certify PeopleSoft on them. So even if you could get them to work, Oracle won't support those combinations. So if you want to stay supported and you want to take advantage of database as a service, then you need to go to OCI. What is database as a service? Database as traditionally our databases sit on servers that are running Windows or Linux or some other Unix variant. We have to create the server, we have to put the operating system on it, and then we have to install our database on there and configure it. What Oracle provides us with is the ability through a simple console to provision on demand any number of Oracle databases. It will provide me with the license. I don't have to buy a license. It comes with the service, but I can bring my own license as well, and that helps to reduce the cost. I can scale that service up and down, and there are a number of different types of database as a service offerings from Oracle. I was told not to make this session too technical, so I won't go into all the different varieties of Oracle database that are available in OCI, but providing the database as a service that you can consume when you want it, and then get rid of that when you don't want it, and only pay for what you're using, that's the real value add here. And here's an example of one of our own Oracle databases running inside OCI. This is the management console, and this is I think this is a financials database that we've got running. And I'm just zooming in here on one of the console menu options. where it's telling me that the Oracle CPU patches, the critical patches that were made available in April, haven't yet been applied to this Oracle database. So as an administrator, I just click the apply button and it applies the patches for me automatically into the database layer. One of my senior engineers within version 1 and I gave a talk last year where we got PeopleSoft operational on autonomous database. The autonomous database from Oracle will automatically tune itself for performance, will automatically keep itself secure, will automatically patch itself whenever there are defect patches. And there's a link there to our presentation that we gave late last year. And finally, I want to talk about Cloud Manager. Everything I've spoken about so far has been using native Oracle Cloud Infrastructure services. But Oracle have developed a new PeopleSoft application called Cloud Manager. And this is an application just like your HCM or financials or campus or ELM application, in that it runs in the PeopleTools environment. What does Cloud Manager do? Cloud Manager is used to provision PeopleSoft environments. It's very circular. This is a PeopleSoft system provisioning and creating other PeopleSoft environments. You can use Cloud Manager to apply PeopleTools patches, upgrade PeopleTools. You can use Cloud Manager to clone entire environments and back them up. And you can, as of Cloud Manager 13, which came out, image 13 of Cloud Manager came out just 3 or 4 weeks ago, you can now apply critical patch updates to your mid-tier components using Cloud Manager. And yesterday evening, knowing that I was presenting today, I've actually used Cloud Manager to clone one of my HR image 37 environments that I have running to create a HR OBUG system that we can log into and see and play around with. So this is a screenshot last night taken inside Cloud Manager of me cloning. It's doing the provisioning, the cloning and building of our OBUG 37 environment. So let's go and do a demo and see this in action. So first I need to log into my PeopleSoft Cloud Manager environment. And you will recognize this as just another PeopleSoft system. It doesn't have HR or finance in it, it's Cloud Manager. So the functionality that it delivers to us is for Cloud Manager. I have a repository. The repository is all of the DPKs that Oracle releases, all of the PRPs, the PeopleSoft release patch sets, and all the updates, the infra DPKs, the WebLogic and Tuxedo and Java patches. They all sit in my repository here. I can create topologies. The topology is the design of my PeopleSoft system. How many web servers does it have? How many app servers do I have? How do I configure the app servers? Do I build Elasticsearch and Kibana, for example? And then I have my environments itself. It's telling me here I've got 4 environments. If we drill into this tile, we'll see what those environments are. So here's our HR OBUG 37 environment that I cloned last night. I have a HCM 40 environment and another development environment here that our team uses. And HR 37, DVO1. Now, DVO1 is one of my research and development machines. And I'm going to give a live demo of something that you may not have done very often here. So forgive me while I just get a little bit technical with some SQL. I saw a demonstration earlier of Query Manager, so I know that Query is familiar to some of you. But I'm just going to...
It's okay, indeed.
I'm going to select from the PS options table just to prove I'm on the right database here. So I know I'm in DV01. That's just testing that I'm on the right environment. I'm going to go to the job table. If you're not familiar with HR, job table holds information about an employee's record of their employment across their history with the organization. And I'm going to do the something you shouldn't do. And I'm going to delete all 6,725 rows from this table. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to commit that transaction. And just to prove that it's happened, we're going to select account from the PS job table again, and we'll see that there's no rows. Now, of course, you would never do this in real world, and you'd probably get fired if you did it in production. This is one of my test systems, and I'm doing this just to prove a point. And the point is that very often in the development lifecycle, we do things either accidentally or deliberately in order to test something. Maybe you're applying a People Tools patch, maybe you're doing a get current, maybe you're applying a change package in selective adoption. Maybe you just migrated some code and then you realize, yeah, okay, I've done my testing. Now I want to roll back to the state of this environment before I made my changes. In this instance, I want to roll back to the time before I did the delete. And we're going to use Cloud Manager to do that. So I'm going to go into HR37 DV01 environment in Cloud Manager. I'm going to go into the backup and restore option. And you'll see here that I actually took a backup of this environment on the 23rd of November. And I know that that backup's good. So I'll just select that backup, click the restore button. It says, are you sure? I am sure. And this will now restore that entire environment. Now, the environment might be 2 web servers, 2 app servers, a process scheduler, an Elasticsearch. This is operating at an environment level. So it's actually going to restore the entire environment, not just the rows in that table that I've deleted. Now, this restore takes about half an hour to complete. And it will take half an hour regardless of how big your database is that you're restoring. Some very, very clever technology within OCI, which allows disk storage to be cloned and snapshot very, very quickly, regardless of its size. So we don't have time in this session today to see this through to completion. But you can see here that it's changed the status of my environment to restoring, and behind the scenes there, it's getting the servers, the database, everything all set up, ready to restore that environment and get my valuable PS job data back. There are some other aspects of this, and let me go into the HR OBUG 37 environment and go into the details of this environment. And we will see that this environment has a process scheduler. The process scheduler is running on this server. It's currently up and running. It has one domain that's running, and I can go in and look at the domain. I've got if you're a PeopleSoft admin, this will be familiar to you. You've got configuration around the process scheduler that I can go and inspect. I can log into this environment. So let's take this URL here. I'm just going to copy that URL, go to a different browser, paste the URL into my browser, and I can log into it just to prove that this is a real PeopleSoft system that has been cloned by Cloud Manager. There we go. So it's a real PeopleSoft HR system, and just to prove this isn't smoke and mirrors, I go into my team and see my team. So I can do lots of things with this environment. Let's go and look at what People Tools version it's on. Well, it's on People Tools 8.5.9. It's on patch 5. It's telling me that I can upgrade to another version, but actually 8.6 isn't available yet, so I can't upgrade to it. if I go to People Tools Patch, Apply, it tells me I'm on patch 5. I drop the list of available patches to apply, and you can see here, patch 6 is available. Oh, did you know patch 6 came out on Monday? Did anyone notice? Well, patch 6 did come out on Monday. I'm just logging into Moz here to prove this. Go into the People Tools 859 patches and updates for Moz. There's patch 6 updated on Monday. Now, I could download this to my environment. I could go through all the mechanics of applying it to my target environment, or I can come along here to Cloud Manager, select patch 6. It's automatically downloaded it into my repository, so I don't even have to worry about that. Click the update button, and it will apply that to all of my nodes, all of my servers within this Cloud Manager environment. This also applies not just to People Tools now, but as of Cloud Manager 13 that came out a few weeks ago, also apply maintenance to my WebLogic, Tuxedo, and Java environment. So this page is telling me that my full tier, my WebLogic and Tuxedo environments, they all have the latest October critical patch updates. But my Windows server that's running the PeopleSoft client, Change Assistant and App Designer, that doesn't have the latest JDK installed. It doesn't have the latest version of Java that contains the October updates. It's still only got July 21. So I could click the apply button down here, and it would go and apply that maintenance to that Windows environment. And there's so much more I could show you on Cloud Manager that can help you manage and maintain your PeopleSoft environments. So why use Cloud Manager? Well, there are 4 compelling reasons. Even if you're not planning to move PeopleSoft to OCI, maybe you run PeopleSoft on Amazon or Microsoft, there's still a strong case for running Cloud Manager in OCI. The first one is to explore new features, and boy, don't we get enough of those from Oracle. Kibana, guided self-service, drop zones, the new images that come out every 12 weeks. How do you explore those? Use Cloud Manager to provision your environments very quickly, or get them upgraded so that you can explore to take advantage of some of those new features. The second reason is to apply updates and fixes to your on-premises. So an example of this might be that you provision the latest HCM image in Cloud Manager and then connect that to a Change Assistant that's running on your on-prem data center. Now, we have a number of customers that we work with where we do this for them. We provide their standard images that they use against their on-premises targets. The third reason is to test People Tools. There's a bug that's been fixed in patch 4 of 858. How do you test it? Well, as I've just demonstrated with Cloud Manager, very, very quickly you can bring up the demo system to a very specific patch and indeed roll it back once you've finished your testing. So this can help you do break-fix testing in People Tools. It will help you understand things like the branding impact on a new tools release that's coming out. Maybe you're getting ready for an upgrade. Maybe you're testing out a solution that Moz have given you on Oracle support. And finally, you can use Cloud Manager to build your training and test and research environments for your own team, a place where your team can safely experiment, try things out, knowing that they can very quickly roll back something. You know, they might be testing out a script to manipulate some data and accidentally delete all the job data in the test system. Well, single click in Cloud Manager, they can roll that back to the last known good backup. So using Cloud Manager as a learning and development environment is a very powerful concept. There are other benefits in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. One of them I'd like to call out, and I'm not picking on Amazon here. We like Amazon, we like Microsoft, but all the cloud providers provide what's known as a shape of a server. And the Amazon shapes, here's 3 shapes they provide. One of them has 2 CPUs and 8 gigabytes of memory. Another one has 4 CPUs and 16 gigabytes of memory. But what if I want to increase that 2 CPU server to 16 gigabytes of memory? I have to go to the next shape. And by going to the next shape, I get the 16 gigabytes that I need, but I also get 2 additional CPUs that I don't need. And so I end up paying for things that I don't actually need. In Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, they've introduced 2 years ago, they introduced flex shapes, and the flex shapes basically allow me to configure a server precisely how I need it. Why does this matter to PeopleSoft? Well, web servers typically low CPU, high memory. Application servers typically high CPU, low memory. And so this allows us to configure an optimal solution for PeopleSoft on cloud. Yes, you can run PeopleSoft on AWS using these shapes, but you might end up paying for things that you don't need because of the limitations of the shapes. You don't have that limitation in OCI, and it's a very unique aspect of OCI's cloud infrastructure. So, are you interested in running PeopleSoft on OCI? If you are, version 1 has a proven high-level design process that we use to engage with our clients to understand your environment. We won't make a recommendation for you, but what we will do is help you to understand the facts as Microsoft, Amazon, and Oracle sales will give them to you and apply them in your context. We produce a high-level design of what your PeopleSoft system might look like in the cloud, including what it might cost to migrate, to operate, and to maintain. If the data center and PeopleSoft infrastructure business is not something that you're in, and you're looking for a trusted partner to work with you in managing your PeopleSoft system, then we can manage your PeopleSoft system for you, regardless of which platform it's on, even if it's on in your own data center. And so, in conclusion, I just got 3 things I wanted to finish with, and the first one is to do something. And Oracle continues to innovate in PeopleSoft. I love that about the PeopleSoft system is Oracle continue to innovate, and so should we. And I caught glimpses of some of your agenda items today, and I tapped in once or twice to watch. I couldn't listen because I didn't understand Dutch, but I can see innovations going on. And so if you can use cloud infrastructure and cloud manager to help you innovate, great, do that. The second thing I wanted to say is ask yourself this question. Are you in the business of data center management? Or are you in the business of educating students or providing financial services or providing healthcare services? Or are you in the business of providing HR employment services? Are you really in the business of data center management? Now, some organizations need to be in that business and some want to be in that business. But if you're not, cloud infrastructure, you can give that problem to somebody else. We don't manufacture our own electricity anymore. Not many of us do anyway. We give that problem to somebody else. Consume compute resources in the same way as we consume electrical resources. And thirdly, to explore. If you want to explore the value of cloud infrastructure, version 1 can help. We've got this proven high-level design. We've been through it now maybe 10 or 11 times with various clients to help explode the myths about running PeopleSoft in cloud infrastructure. And so if there's time for questions, I can take them now. If not, my email address is there. Thank you so much for listening and your time. Great pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Graham. Indeed, we did receive some questions for you in the chat. First one, Kees Vrijen. Graham, do most companies have the complete OTAP suite on OCI, or only, for example, only PRD or only the development, or one?
Yeah, good question. Good question. We have customers everything on OCI: demo, development, UAT, SIS test, and production. We also have customers that just run their demo and development systems in OCI. Some are on the journey to migrating everything, and some just use it as an experimental platform where they can do some of their development and some of their learning.
Okay, thank you. I think that's answer enough for a case. Another question from Jean-Francois Bloom. Graham, you mentioned earlier that PeopleSoft is not certified on Azure and AWS, but version 1 does have PeopleSoft customers on these platforms. What is the consequence for the customers if they still run on AWS or Azure without support from PeopleSoft?
PeopleSoft is supported on operating systems. PeopleSoft is supported on Linux and Windows, and therefore it is supported on AWS and Azure. What isn't supported is the database as a service offering from AWS and Microsoft. But you can run your database on Linux and Windows and still get support from Oracle. In fact, Oracle has published a paper explicitly certifying Oracle database on Azure and AWS, but only if you run the database on a traditional operating system like Linux or Windows. If you choose to run PeopleSoft in a database as a service offering from Azure or Amazon, then you won't be supported. Subtle technical difference, and PeopleSoft is supported itself on those platforms, but only if you run the database on a Windows or Linux machine.
Okay, that's fine with you, Jean-Francois Bloom?
Yeah, Graham, thank you for the explanation. It's completely clear.
Okay, thank you. And then we have a last question from Jan van Lochte. Does implementing OCI mean a greater dependency on PeopleSoft? Great question.
Does implementing PeopleSoft on OCI make you more dependent on PeopleSoft? I think it allows you to innovate more in PeopleSoft. I mean, genuinely, we use OCI to save ourselves a huge amount of effort in testing People Tools releases, doing People Tools upgrades ourselves. That saves us money. It saves us time. It means we can be very fast to market with things and ideas, and so it helps us innovate. Does that make us more dependent on PeopleSoft? Well, PeopleSoft is my strategic direction. I'm basing my company on it, so our customers do the same. And so if it helps you to innovate, I think it's a great move. Does it? Maybe a subtly different question there is, if you move PeopleSoft to Oracle, does it make you more dependent on Oracle? Well, it makes you no more dependent on Oracle than it would if you were running your PeopleSoft system hardware or Dell hardware or Hewlett-Packard hardware. You are no more dependent on Oracle than you are on those suppliers. So that's something I would add to that. Does that answer the question?
Jan, does that answer your question? For me, it's okay, but Jan? I think Jan is ook okay.
Was okay.
So he put his thumb up. So
Ja, goed.
Okay, Graham, very very much thank you for your being here in our live webinar. It's also recorded. When it is recorded, we change it with our viewers at this moment. So thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this 3 days presentation, the day before yesterday and today. So I think you've done a great job in the UK and at OBUG Writers Now.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Now I have a wrap-up at this time. The wrap-up questions are also in English. Can you put on the
Yes, I will help you.
presentation?
William.
Thank you very much. At this moment, I want to thank you also, Bliss, and especially Kees Schrijen and Jordi Bax for setting up this studio here.
Is it?
This is the one.
That's the one.
So Bliss and Kees and Jordi, very much thanks for being here, for helping me to make this possible at this moment. So now you can. I want to ask you some questions. You can scan the QR code. That's the most simple thing. Then you come in. You don't have to log in when you scan the QR code. I'll do it myself. I hope everyone that scan.
Yeah.
One moment. So, first question, what was your trigger to join this webinar? There's coming a word cloud. More answers are welcome. And this is helping us what if we can make it better. Okay. 15 login. You also may type in Dutch as you wish. It stays on 18, so thank you. Kibana is great in the middle. So John, you have something to do the next time. Can you tell in one or a few words how did you experience this webinar? Was it good? Was it great? The location was bad. Next time in real life, I was a bit jealous on Graham Smith for the last few days he was in normally I do this with Mentimeter, but I saw sense steps and PowerPoint can share. You can share sense step. You can implement sense steps in PowerPoint. So that was new for me. Okay. Next question. Can every four answers are good. How do you rate the 5 pitches you saw this morning? It could be it had no added value for me and my organization, so that's okay with us. It was okay, but nothing new for me. It was great. I saw some opportunities for me. It was excellent. I saw great opportunities for me and my organization. "19 people did vote. No blue, thank you. Next, how do you rate the OCI on PeopleSoft presentation by Graham Smith? Same answers. It had no added value for me and my organization. It was okay, but nothing new for me. It was great. Saw opportunities it was excellent. Saw opportunities for me and our organization. "15. Two people didn't vote. Okay, let it like this. Last questions. Oh, sorry. Now you see it was great. No blue again. So I hope you had a good presentation. Thank you for that. And last, what would you like to see present on the next PeopleSoft is coming to you OBUG event? I hope to do that in real life next time. I can announce that in June 2022, OBUG is planning to organize Apps Connected again in a location where and Oracle Cloud and JD Edwards and Oracle e-Business Suite and PeopleSoft, all the 3-6 from the OBUG, are presenting over there. You can put more answers in this one. The screen is now changing. Het wijzigt elke keer, but that's okay. On the background, everything is okay. Yeah. Thank you for this. This was my wrap-up. I changed to Dutch now. Ik wil iedereen echt bedanken dat ze hier bij deze livestream aanwezig zijn. Zoals ik zei, het is ook opgenomen. Dit zal ik ook delen. Dit zullen we ook gaan delen op de YouTube OBUG videosite. Dus kijk daar eens terug. We zullen ook een link sturen naar die OBUG YouTube site waar je versneld nog eens terug kan kijken als je nog iets wil weten. Bijvoorbeeld van Graham Smith. Ik wil jullie allemaal bedanken dat jullie aanwezig zijn. Ik heb nog heel even een rondje voor wat laatste vragen. Of een laatste opmerking eigenlijk van mij en een paar vragen. Op het moment dat jij zegt van ik wil meer informatie ergens over, schroom niet om te contacten of met Bliss of met OBUG of met mij op een bepaalde manier. Wij staan altijd open om dieper in te gaan op bepaalde presentaties hoe iets gaat. Ik heb inmiddels ook een kleine uitnodiging van LUMC gehad, dus daar ben ik alleen maar blij mee. Ik wil het vooral, haal meer uit je applicatie. Dat wil ik heel erg ondersteunen en dat ondersteun ik ook heel erg. Want je kan ook echt veel meer uit je applicatie halen en volgens mij zijn we daar bij CZ heel goed mee bezig. Ik zie nu het scherm even niet, maar als er nog vragen zijn, geen vragen, dan wil ik het hierbij laten. Smakelijk eten voor zometeen en dank jullie wel en tot de volgende keer.
William, dank voor het organiseren weer.
Dankjewel.
Ook dankjewel namens het LUMC.
Oké. Tegen mensen nou.